It needs to come natural. You can definitely overthink it, Brian. All these people's advice, you can throw all that shit out the window and just go by your experience and what you've been practicing and what feels good to you. I mean,
We're officially 35 days away from EVW 23. We've heard that Brian Shaw saying that he's leveled up, and one of the main factors for that is just not taking everybody's advice, that everybody and their brothers trying to give him advice as far as how to be a better arm wrestler. So let's take a look at what Brian has to say here, and then John Brzenk kind of chimes in and reassures Brian as well. Let's take a look.
You said to me, everybody with me coming in, everybody's probably giving me all the advice and telling me the right way to do it, and it's like this influx of information that everybody's trying to say this is the way to do it.
We saw that with Larry Wheels as well.
This is what you have to do, etc.
And also, they were mentioning in this podcast that Brian, Travis was saying Brian is doing a better job at selecting his opponents than Larry Wheels. He learned from the mistakes of Larry Wheels from selecting opponents that were too difficult.
I didn't realize it as much at that time, but what I have had to do is not take anything necessarily as gospel, like this is the absolute truth. I've had to,
especially because most of the people giving him advice do not have the same structure as him, being 6'8", 6'9", 400 pounds. I mean, how many people can relate to having a body like that?
to kind of step back and say there's certain things that are going to work for me and certain things that are not going to. And again, a guy that's shorter and doesn't have the same size or mass or whatever, they may be able to move a lot differently, and
right.
what works for them probably won't work for me. And so
Right.
I think I had to go through some growing pains to figure that out, just to figure that out a little bit better. And so, I think I'm getting in a better spot. I think I also have a lot of a lot of growth still to come, a lot of learning still to come. But it's fun. It's fun to try to figure that out, right? So it's and as you get into these matches, like Leonidas, 100% will have more match experience than me. He does.
Yeah, and it needs to come natural. You can definitely overthink it, Brian. All these people's advice, you can throw all that shit out the window and just go by your experience and what you've been practicing and what feels good to you. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna you're gonna be a terrible puller if you're constantly thinking that you're doing something wrong, or you're trying to remember what so and so said about.
John Brzenk dropping absolute gems. You're going to be a terrible puller if you're always trying to remember what somebody says about doing a specific technique. If you're always worried about that, absolute gem of advice.
It's just got to come natural, and that's where just practice reps. Is the key. You got to realize it for yourself.
Other than that, in this podcast was very entertaining. You had Travis Bajan just kind of provoking Brian Shaw, saying that he's one of the owners. He gets special treatment from the owners at East versus West. Are they going to fly him out on a private plane? They're saying how it's going to be Travis is jealous of someone who's coming into the sport so soon after coming from Strongman and thinking he's going to take over. We didn't hear too much from Leonidas. There weren't many questions asked to him, but overall it was a very interesting podcast here. Definitely check it out. I'll put the link in the description. Let's read a couple comments here. Shame, this could have been fun, but I forgot that the world does revolve around Travis. This could have been so much better with the host who asks questions and reads fans' questions. Imagine having Leonidas on and barely asking any questions. Travis, Brian literally picked the guy who beat Larry for his first real match, so I don't think it's fair to say he's choosing weak opponents to avoid losing like Larry lost. Yeah, you make your own judgment on that. I mean, that is true. That is true. Larry did lose to Leonidas pretty badly. I mean, he pretty much retired soon after that. But, yeah. Hit like and subscribe. Buy the pay-per-view. Use code TOM, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.